It's day 2 of the World Economic Forum in Davos. That's obviously in Switzerland. The forum itself takes place amid pressure on world leaders over rising inflation and the cost of living. The Ukraine war, as well as climate change, is on the agenda. Our business editor, Xolani Mbanjwa, is in Davos for us and joins us now live in what is also a morning in Davos, and plenty taking place in day 1 of what's taken place where you're at, Xolani. In fact, the Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelensky, addressing, what was a major talking point yesterday. What else came out of the discussions around the conflict in Ukraine?
Good morning. I am in the hilly mountains of Davos. It's 10 degrees here, quite cold as it is there in Johannesburg. Yes, indeed, you're absolutely right. Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, is the talk of the town this year, and the war in Ukraine is the focal point. It will continue to be, as yesterday President Zelensky did mention to world leaders the need for humanitarian support, the need for weapons for his countrymen who are defending the country from all fronts. And he actually called on world leaders to shun Russia and their companies and to make sure that it hurts those who are actually in power, the oligarchs. And as we've seen, many people have lost some of their investments, and many companies have pulled out of Russia, and Russia is facing a lot of criticism. As you will anticipate here in Davos, Russia did try to put up their exhibition, Russia House, as we have a lot of exhibitions around town, but many people actually were not wanting to hear or see any of that. There was a defacing at some point of Russia House to Russia a house of war crimes, and they wrote in that display. So it's been quite an interesting one, and it is something that is going to continue to be a focal point, the crisis that continues to unfold in Ukraine.
Yeah, part of what's also been dominating headlines here at home, Xolani, is around the spread of monkeypox, which is seemingly spreading at a much faster rate in Europe. In what ways, if any, has that affected the gathering there?
Not at all. It has not affected this particular gathering of the World Economic Forum. In fact, when you land here, many delegates, 2,500 from around the world, are actually, some of them in shock, like myself, when we come from countries where we still observe COVID-19 regulations, including wearing of masks. You stand out like a sore thumb here if you are wearing a mask, because there are no regulations that require you to wear a mask. When it comes to the monkeypox outbreak, there has been just one case in the entirety of Switzerland, and there hasn't been any change in terms of regime and approach, but there has been some talk about among delegates in terms of trying to find out back home if the situation is much worse. But it is only day 2 here in Davos, and we still have a couple of more days to go, and perhaps the monkeypox outbreak will become a focal point, but not at this stage, Ayanda.
Yeah. With each passing year, the World Economic Forum and its stature is kind of measured according to how many world leaders actually attend that gathering. This year, we know that some of those world leaders are missing. The discussions, however, continue. So what's the difference this year compared to last year?
There's a different feel this time around. Of course, in the past 2 years, this gathering has been taking place virtually due to COVID-19. The last one, which was in person, was in 2019. And when you look at some of the world leaders that are here from India and other countries, it's not as much. In fact, when you compare to previous years, you will find that President of South Africa would be here here, and you'd find that the president of the USA would be here. Joe Biden is not making his way here as far as we have heard and been told, and we still are expecting, according to organizers, some 50 world leaders. The major talking point, however, is how impactful these gatherings are, as there are many discussions that take place and deals that are signed. People are not only looking at who is attending, but the efficacy of what is discussed and whether it is going to be implemented. Whether the world is going to come together in defense of Ukraine is still a major talking point, because many people are asking questions whether such gatherings have become a talk shop, and WEF 2022 is under a lot of pressure to actually have outcomes that are going to make a difference, not only in the world, but particularly where there's a major crisis between Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what the future of multilateralism is looking like, given those questions. But very quickly, Xolani, day 2 today, any signs of what the main focus might be?
The main focus is still what the world is going to do in terms of coming together to defend Ukraine, and there's a lot of discussions around the fourth industrial revolution, LGBTI communities, and Puti Mahanyele, the NASPAR's CEO in South Africa, will be among the delegates who are discussing Africa's growing role in the world and how that could actually work. There is a lot of discussions about globalization and how the cost of living is rising, and just about also how many people around the world, hundreds of millions, are still unbanked in this day and age. So a lot to look forward to on day 2 of WEF 2022.
All right, we'll allow you to get to it. Xolani Mbanjwa, thanks very much indeed. Live to us there, just in front of the hills of Switzerland, broadcasting from Davos.